Hello, my name is Karim Qasim, a student at University of Liverpool, and the title of my dissertation is Analysis of the Effectiveness of EU Legislation Relevant to Criminal Entities Utilizing Crypto Assets to Facilitate Money Laundering and Fraud. Preparation and Planning Stage: a thorough research of the current legislation to regulate cryptocurrencies in the EU. This research will prove very mandatory in this dissertation because the study may prove a number of outcomes, such as if the regulation has an adverse effect on the market and if it may hinder EU advancements into other technological advancements in the crypto market. Analysis of relevant case studies in the scope of fraudulent activities and money laundering specific to utilization of cryptocurrencies. This stage is also important as it studies the law and practice and the practical application of the law. To identify possible weaknesses in the current regulations of cryptocurrencies put in place in combating financial crime. Now, this will also be a vital stage because it clearly can identify the symbiotic relationship between technology, international law, and financial crime, and its possible socio-economical impact on the European Union and the community as a whole. Finally, it will be concluded with a suggestion of possible remedial solutions and their application. Examples of the possible solutions which will be suggested at the end of this dissertation would be adding a specific section in the FATF recommendations and or updating the regulation for cryptocurrencies to be able to resolve the issue of combating financial crime in a more adequate way. Justification of research. It's justifiable to identify how the possible technological advances in the realm of international finance is shaping the capabilities of organized criminal entities in utilizing the specific ways to easily facilitate their financial crimes identified as money laundering and crime. There is a specific link between fraud and money laundering through crypto, which will be researched further and identified. As cryptocurrencies in their nature, they provide anonymity to their users, and some tokens are structured in a way to provide an easier Ponzi scheme operation to be handled by users with bad intentions. Now, this link, obviously the money generated from fraud needs to be laundered, which is why this money can also be easily laundered through the utilization of the same cryptocurrencies. Furthermore, in this dissertation, we'll move to justifying the effectiveness and weaknesses in combating financial crime in the following relevant laws in the EU. It's not limited to the following, but they will provide the core section of our dissertation: MICA, the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, and the FATF recommendations. How will the effectiveness ultimately of the law be analyzed? In three main areas: the degree of implementation of the FATF recommendations nationally across the EU, and MICA regulation and compliance. How are nations complying with the regulation and the recommendations against money laundering set out in the FATF? And also the enforcement of the regulation outcomes. This can lead to two possible results if the regulation is to be enforced, either the hindrance of technological advancement in the crypto market across the EU, or that the regulation of the crypto market will potentially attract investments due to the clarity provided by the work of the regulation on the crypto market itself. And effectiveness will also be analyzed by studying how the law and the legislation, when it is applied, is consistent across jurisdictions in the EU. Because the nature of crypto, it's borderless. Money can be moved from Belgium to France without a third party to authorize the payments to go through. So this will also be analyzed relevant to the nature of cryptocurrencies. There are certain challenges which are facing the regulation, such as does not cover the realm of decentralization finance. Issues such as smart contracts and tokens, which will be expanded further in this dissertation, are not covered by MICA. Now, the main issue of decentralized finance not being covered by MICA is this causes problems because there is no existence of a centralized body which can be audited and examined and requested to provide information about their users, which is why this poses a problem to the regulation of cryptocurrencies. The main and central core question of this dissertation would be to try and resolve the problem of utilization of crypto markets to commit illicit activities. Now, this is a broad problem. However, this is why the main target and the main objective would be to study the effectiveness of the law and provide remedies. But this is the general problem we are facing. The use of a decentralized ecosystem of cryptocurrencies leads to organized criminal entities to use the blockchain technology as a main conduit for money laundering and or terrorist financing. And an analysis of how proceeds of criminal activity can be laundered through the use of these digital currencies is essential to be studied in order to be able to give a more detailed response on how to suggest possible remedies to resolve the issue at hand.